This Raw Green episode is brought to you by Obi, a sustainability consultancy firm specialized in life cycle assessment and decarbonization strategies. For more information, check oneobi.com or visit our page on social media. Links in the description. All right, welcome to another episode of Raw Green. Today, it is my pleasure to have as a guest Mr. José Sivera, straight from Alicante in Spain. Hola, José. ¿Cómo estás?
Hi, fine. And you? How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Very, very happy. So, guys, just to
My
give you a
pleasure.
quick intro on José. José is the CTO of PrimLab, an R&D laboratory based in Spain that developed revolutionary products to be able to tackle one of the main issues that we are currently facing, which is the CO2 concentration. Let's start big, Jose. Let's start big immediately with the big guy, okay? Let's talk about CO2 pure. Okay, so CO2 pure, it is a compound that you guys at PrimLab developed and patented, that it is able to adsorb CO2, nitrous oxides, and volatile organic compounds, and mineralize them into carbonates. This is big. I mean, it's big. Enlighten us. How does it work?
Okay, so basically it's like, as you mentioned, we have created the CO2 pure product, which is based on metallic oxides with a molecular mesh enhanced, basically, in order to attract, as you mentioned, absorb on surface different kind of pollutants to the surface or where the product is being applied. So basically, we have these intrinsic properties of the molecular mesh that it does attract onto the surface by cationic exchange and London dispersion forces the product, the pollutants, into the mesh in order to be kept into the mesh, and inside the mesh there are certain chemical processes like catalytic and photocatalytic reactors, which convert these pollutants merge with the minerals that we have within the formulation. So basically, it converts into carbonated, into nitrates, nitrates, and also into CO2, because the catalytic reactions, they convert different kind of nitrogen
Calcium
oxide
carbonate.
species and volatile organic compounds into water and carbon dioxide. But lucky it's like we have taken these also this carbon dioxide in order to be attracted and reconverted again from the photocatalytic reactor. So our product works day and night, and it is very, very viable to apply it to any kind of surface that is available on the market. Paints, concrete, plastic, textiles, glass, tiles, whatever you imagine.
Wow.
It's just a matter of the applicant to find the right procedure to apply it onto the surface.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about for a second about the photocatalytic reaction. Okay, in layman words, in non-technical words, basically, thanks to the sun, you have a reaction that basically converts CO2, NOx, and VOCs into what? Into carbonates? Into what is it, like a powder? Into
No, it's like you're confusing what is the catalytic versus the photocatalytic reactor. The
okay,
photocatalytic reaction as you mentioned, it uses the ultraviolet light from the sun in order to excite the electrons, basically. And these electrons make the oxidation, and this passes through the different kind of photo reactors. In this case, the compounds. In this case, nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds. It doesn't tackle directly to carbon dioxide. On the contrary, it emits carbon dioxide in the photocatalytic reactions, as far as I know. So the vast majority of the photocatalytic reactor used in the industry nowadays is titanium oxide. So we have different kinds of titanium oxides, anatase, rutile, brochile, which requires different kind of entropies, different kind of energy state in order to reach one state or the other. But basically, it's like the photocatalytic reactor works with sunlight or artificial light that can emit the wavelength
The
according
wavelength
to the UV
required.
light.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Because there are some lights, artificial lights, that they can reach this kind of wavelength, and therefore it's like it stimulates the electrons and it passes through. It's like a photosynthesis way of seeing it, basically.
Okay. And tell me something about. I assume that while you were in the R&D phase, and you had to go through a series of tests to be able to quantify the properties in, I don't know, in different environment with different concentrations of CO2 pure, NOx, and VOCs and whatnot. Can you tell me what tests and how do they work? You have to go through to be able to quantify the properties of CO2 pure.
Yes. Well, basically, it's like CO2 pure, as mentioned, that has many kind of metallic oxides and molecular meshes, and there are so many kind of tests viable that we could perform, to see what's the mechanisms surrounding the product. And well, we needed to start it with the basics. Basically, is to demonstrate that the product could absorb and eliminate carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides from any given space volume. So we used the Spanish Research Institution Center, which is quite well known. This research center, and we send our product, because what we produce is CO2 pure. We don't produce textile, we don't produce plastics,
It's a
concrete,
powder.
etc.
Yeah, it is
So
a
we want
powder.
it's a powder, it's a thin powder that, depending on the application that we want to tackle the product to, it's like we need to give it smaller, bigger, or bigger size. So we have different sizes for different kind of application. So in this occasion, we used the middle granulometry size, to make the assay, with the CSIC, and we use only the raw powder. Okay, so they validated the powder by a 36%,
What does
efficiency
it
of
mean?
elimination
Okay.
carbon.
Okay. 36% efficiency.
Efficiency, yes. So and also a 36% of elimination on nitrogen oxide species.
Wow.
Okay, so we have the report via the CSIC, and basically it's like we don't use the raw material for all the application, but we need to mix it with the base product that we are applying it to. So basically, it's like we recommend certain volumes, either volume weight, either in liquid mixtures, etc., to have a minimum amount of elimination of carbon dioxide and viability, that the product will remain having the same physical chemical properties as before, without altering what's the finished product, basically.
Okay, let's take an example. Okay, let's work on a paint application. Okay, and you add to, I don't know, white or black or red paint, X amount of CO2 pure. You apply it, and that immediately starts to do its job. Is
Yes.
that it?
So basically, yeah. So basically, it's you can do it in two ways. One is in the paint production,
Mm,
okay, in which you make different kind of pigments,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
titanium oxide, different kind of components to make the paint. You mixing it then in dry very well, and then you add the binder in order to making it a thick viscosity
Yeah,
product that you mix
required.
with water, a bit, and then you start painting it. So once you apply it on the walls, it straight away start to work. And as a matter of fact, it's like PrimLab has participated in a competition with the Eco Disruptive program by Bupa Group, and
Okay,
we have painted a room within a geriatric place in Madrid, Mirasierra, by Sanitas, and we were monitoring. Well, no, a third party was monitoring the inside of the room before it was painted for 4 days.
okay.
So then we painted again, and again, no, we painted and then applied CO2 pure paint, and then they monitored for further days, and they could see a difference of air pollution of 15% and peaks of a 28% reduction.
Wow,
So that implies
wow.
that straight away when paint is applied,
Immediately.
the product start working.
15 with peaks of 28% reduction.
Right.
That is okay, freaking fantastic. That is freaking fantastic. So, but
And furthermore, is first is the first real trial we have performed without PrimLab being behind the monitoring of the process. Basically, it's a
was a third
third
party.
party
Yeah.
who used the metrics and used the everything, And one thing important is that the room was inhabited by a patient, you
Okay.
know. So this patient lays in the room at all time, everything closed in order to measure the concentration.
Mm,
But every X amount of time, a nurse was entering to give medicine or food to the patient for 4 days. So we exhale carbon dioxide,
mm-hmm.
and it's about half a kilo, more or less, because we emit 1 kilo per day.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
during the night is half a kilo, so the full day will be one further kilo within the room. So even though we got reductions of
Of
up
that
to a
too.
15%, yeah,
Fantastic. That is fantastic. You mentioned that the measurement was done by a third party. Okay, and here we're
correct.
talking about a closed environment. Now it is a brand new technology.
Yes.
Let's say that you want to tackle a massive real estate project where you're going to paint with CO2 pure a logistics center, a stadium, whatever. Okay, how are these guys going to measure the
Mm,
properties of CO2 pure?
yeah. Well, eventually, you know that the air does contain the parts per million of carbon dioxide within the air. So the lowest part is 0.04%. Of carbon dioxide. So that means in a cubic meter, it's 0.04% of carbon dioxide within. So we know that the product works in closed environments,
Mm,
okay, with flow of air, because we have an equipment that has a fan within in order to imitate a thin breeze in order to validate the application processes. So eventually, to measure in a outside scenario, it will be very complex. Why? Because the air is being renewed constantly. So it's
yeah.
not like we can have a parametric control of how much air, how much parts per million of carbon dioxide are flowing in the surroundings of the place that we want to measure. But nonetheless, it's like we have proven in a laboratory that it works,
Environment.
36% on raw material. We have proven on a real scenario in a room inside closed environment.
Okay.
Closed environment, it means that it's a controlled environment by means of that the windows are not open because of the concentration of carbon dioxide will flow quite a lot. But nonetheless, it's like we were able to demonstrate that the product works in both cases. And eventually, if it works in both cases, it's going to work in the outside world. So
Yeah.
now it's like in order to measure in a outside area, it's like we will need to have a very big dome or something like this covering the whole area to be able to measure the ins and outs of carbon dioxide. And we know that is
No, not
viable,
feasible. Yeah.
but we know that they work.
Okay. And would, for example, how solar modules business planning works? You have a solar radiation map. You're able to calculate the projected production of a solar power plant in that specific geography. And then based on that solar radiation of kilowatt hour per square meter, you build up your business plan on top of that. Would it be possible to let's say, reverse engineer that? But instead of using the solar radiation, using let's say, a ppm concentration in the air, and develop a function based on the concentration of ppm in that particular geography, factoring in the CO2 pure properties?
Yes, I assume or I suppose that having in consideration different constants like wind speed, cloudness, on all those kind of parameters, is like and knowing how efficient is the product eliminating carbon dioxide, we could make a kind of comparison on the elimination on a given scenario.
Okay, so because if you want to put, I don't know, technical, another way that I can think of, it is to put like a specific camera that it is able to capture CO2, which I'm pretty sure they exist, and then from there develop a MRV, a measuring, reporting, and verification system that allows the users of
Yeah.
CO2 pure to be able to quantify with precision ish, obviously, because we're talking about still a gas that goes around, the absorption from the air.
Yes. For instance, I know there is a researcher in the University of Valencia that she was able to tackle the satellites that we have surrounding the Earth. Okay, in order for them to tackle methane concentrations.
Okay,
Okay, so
there you go.
at the same time that we managed to tackle the methane concentrations, is like let's say in a scenario that we have those satellites to be able to measure or to see, visualize the amounts of carbon dioxide in a specific area, that we can measure them from space.
Yeah,
So it will be a possible scenario, but
that's a
nonetheless,
very
it's like
futuristic scenario.
methane.
I like it a lot.
It's it's a 10 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there are companies who doesn't inform of the leaks
of the
of
leaks.
methane
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
count up to a 6% of the dangers for climate change.
yeah, yeah. It is,
But
it is,
yes, it
it
will
is
be
very
a
potent.
good scenario.
And can stay in the atmosphere much less than CO2 that usually is like 100 years. Methane, it is 20-25 years. So it is actually a easy, no, nothing is easy, but a very quick way to reduce climate change potential, global warming potential, by just tackling
Yeah.
those leakages. That it is amazing. It is really amazing.
Yeah.
So
It's
well,
like there are leakages. I have seen leakages that for an hour, you know, or it was a day, I can't remember. The volume of methane released in a very short period of time, it was equivalent to all the cars in the world emissions in 1 year. You
right,
know,
yeah,
and
so
that is a frightening scenario in
yeah,
which we all live in the same world. Why we need to get these mistakes from different companies who doesn't take responsibilities of their mistakes?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so that it should be
Not for
a
long
matter
though, huh?
of politicians.
Yeah, not for
Yeah,
long. That won't be for long at all. They're gonna come under scrutiny much more from governments, especially as
yeah,
climate targets that each country is putting on are getting closer by the day. So it
that's,
won't be for long. Let me ask you something else.
yeah.
We talk about the paint application of CO2 pure. What other applications are there?
You name it, whatever you have a surface, stapler, glasses, mugs, carbon boxes, textiles, plastics, concrete, varnishes,
Any
Coca-Cola
surface,
cans, any surface.
any
So
surface.
the main point, yeah, the main point is to have the granulometry size ideal for that application. Secondly, to see that the application doesn't distort the physical chemical properties of the finished product. And thirdly, that the client or manufacturer is happy with the price that they need to pay in order to apply the product.
Mm,
But eventually, it's a kind of how can I say it? A newer scenario in which the vast majority of people we need to be conscientized that climate change is a threat. It is not a announcement that hey guys we are gonna run
yeah,
out of
PR
petrol
thing.
or we're gonna
Yeah.
run out of gas. Like we're gonna run out of um, space and too much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere can lead to certain disasters in nature that it had happened in the past, yes, but humans were not in.
Hmm.
So nature took thousands of years, to recover. So
Yeah.
I have seen a report by a very large group of scientists analyzing the ice sheets of different continents, Antarctica and Arctica. So basically saying that the last time that the Earth had the same type of CO2 concentration was 14 million years ago.
Wow.
14 million years ago. So upon industrialization, everything speeds up, you
Yes.
know. So
Yes.
basically, it's like it is not enough that wildfires occurs, that they emit carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Plants absorb slowly, bit by bit, this carbon dioxide to keep the Earth within a range of temperatures, to be able to sustain life as it is. So by anthropogenic contributions, is like we speeding up this process, and eventually it's like it can lead to sea ice melting. Sorry, ice melting, sea levels rising,
Yeah.
storming, hot weathers, very cold weathers.
Yeah.
Changing the current, Gulf current, acidification of oceans.
Yeah.
There are so many steps implied on this little scenario that carbon dioxide. What it does, it's just a tiny molecule, yes, but we don't give nature enough time in order to reduce it. So
Yeah.
basically, it's like as we have made this contribution, we humans need to find alternative ways in order to reduce it, not to eliminate it eventually, because plants need it and we need it too. but eventually to keep it to a constant level, to sustain life as we know on Earth. So probably you and I, we will not see the full extent of this climate change if nothing or little has been done. But in 2100, so things, this scenario will change quite dramatically. So
Yes.
this is the COP28 in Dubai.
Yeah.
They've been debating what's the implementation that companies, governments, they need to tackle in order to reduce as much carbon dioxide as possible. But there are so many pros and cons that they need to give time to companies to adapt,
To
laws to be
countries.
implemented, and
Yes.
so on and so forth.
Yes. How
And
can
that's
you
going to
can you
take
ask?
time.
Of course it does. How can you ask you got to factor in everything, the livelihood of present and future generations. See, but we start with the present. And how can you ask a developing country that they are working their asses trying to get out of poverty or reduce poverty levels to drop off their let's say incomes because of climate
Yeah,
change? Now that's where developed countries should kick in, also because if well planned and done with a good logic, it is a very good commercial opportunity to
yeah,
invest into developing country, knowing that it is for a common goal. Okay, so it is a very good category of impact investing. But if you don't have
yeah.
that country's cohesion to walk all towards the same direction, it is going to be very, very hard. Very, very hard.
It's
Uh,
very complex.
yeah,
Yes,
it is. It
because
is very complex.
there are people who believes that it's true. We are on this climate change, and there are people who doesn't believe that we are in a climate change. Is a hoax, and they are
Yeah,
only
they also believe
want
the
to
Earth
get
is flat. I know.
up.
I know.
I have read so many reports by different kind of researchers globally around the globe, and it's like the vast majority they claiming that we are in this scenario. So eventually, it's like we don't see, because you look to the window, you see the sun, it's nothing much. But then it's like when you notice is when you get those wildfires, extreme
Mm,
heat, increase of carbon dioxide by the Mount Mauna Loa, which is the observatory in the cleanest part of the earth, that
mm,
every time is increasing its concentration, despite the efforts that we are trying to do to mitigate carbon dioxide emissions.
yeah.
So we are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
increasing every year, and the undeveloped countries is like they are not to blame because their production of carbon dioxide is very low compared to industrialized countries, which has been exploiting for thousands of years or hundreds of years those undeveloped countries because of the resources, materials, gold, mine, diamonds, etc. And it's like it's an obligation from those countries in order to supply and help them in order to reduce the carbon footprint. But hey, this politics, and that will take a while.
Yeah. Well, look, let me ask you something. CO2 Pure could definitely be a contributor, considering also the huge number of applications possible. At what stage are you with the commercialization of CO2 Pure?
Yes, so basically, we have already started commercialize the product.
Okay.
We have agreements with different companies, US, Korea, Spain, different companies that they have already tested, India, that they have already tested, and they're happy with the results, and they are trying to get into the market.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's a big mistake to think to give a premium product rather than applying it to every product that they produce. So by having large volume, the price will be lower, it will be cheaper, and they will be able to apply to every product on that they make the production. And eventually, it's like they can tackle a vast production to reduce carbon dioxide from the air.
Yeah.
So yes, it's already made. We are already selling it, and whoever wants it is like we can apply it, we can sell it, we can not apply it, we can offer to be applied and to validate it by universities, external parties, from us, from whoever they want.
Okay, fantastic. So what's next?
So next is like we are trying to get a very large production for one of the main, for a main global distributor.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to see the feasibility to be entering the stock market. So
wow.
eventually entering this, yes. So entering the stock market, having a large volume of sales and so on, will make the company to grow very fast. And eventually, it's like we will be able to spread the CO2 pure. That is like one of the weathering technologies that is available.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there are different kind of technologies that they are used in order to capture carbon dioxide, like direct air capture, enhancing weathering, mineralization, carbon dioxide utilization, membrane separation,
electro swing absorption. There is this company that I've been following from a while that, if I remember correctly, it is a spin-off of the MIT that developed it is a form of DAC, but the terminology and the principle behind it is called electroswing adsorption, which is another adsorption like CO2 pure, and it's basically a charged electron on a graphite plate that it is able to absorb CO2. There are lots coming, and they are all needed one way or another. Okay. No, what I also wanted to ask you, it is what's next for PrimLab? What do you have? What you've been cooking now?
Well, we have into the stage of potential clients, very big corporations, different kind of agreements that we have already signed with in Korea, in United States. So the point is for us to make a very large production of the product and to be able to spread it everywhere in the world. Applying it to different kind of commodity product, like I don't know, lighters, cans, pens, textiles, fashion. It is being presented the product by Stella McCartney, the daughter of Paul McCartney. She's a designer, and she's like very interested to apply the product. Okay. It's not called CO2 Pure. It's called another name because they wanted to use another brand, but it's our product who is working on it.
Okay.
So
nice.
Eventually, it's like
that's a big brand.
Bit So bit by bit, we are getting into different kind of sectors, very important companies or people who can spread the word and the application of CO2 pure to different kind of substrates. And eventually, the more we get into different sectors, the more we are going to produce in order to cope, to lay it out in the whole planet. It will be very good because eventually it's one thing that I wanted to mention to you, that it is important to know that all those technology that I mentioned before, air capture, enhancing weathering, and all these kind of things, ocean-based capture, that this is very interesting, but it's also a bit dangerous.
Why?
I'll just point on this one because what is being thought is to try to give nutrients, okay, for phytoplankton to go to the surface of the oceans and to be able to pick up carbon dioxide. So if they increase too much carbon dioxide into the oceans, okay, that will make an acidification of the oceans, and then therefore life on the ocean will change as well. So one of our food chain supply is the oceans for humans, and therefore it's like if we acidify the oceans, where are we going to have fish from?
So
So there are things
the
that need
ocean
to be considered.
enhanced weather mineralization projects, you're saying that they basically tickle the phytoplankton to go up to close to surface and basically doing what they already do, which is to withdraw CO2 from the atmosphere. But if you increase that level, that will contribute to the acidification. In a nutshell, is that correct?
Yes. So it depends on how much, it depends on the control parameters, it depends on the acidification already taking place by the oceans. There are so many things that need to be studied. As I mentioned, it's like all these technologies show promise, but they are in an early stage that they need to be
Yeah,
further enhanced and developed. And
yeah,
eventually, the more we have, the more control we will have towards climate change. It's not
yeah.
like CO2 is going to end climate change, no whatsoever,
No,
but it's going to help reducing carbon dioxide emissions and oxygen nitrate, volatile organic compounds from the air, as far
yeah,
as this is applied. So this is a kind of a technology that compared to a mineralization or weathering, enhanced weathering, and so it's like we have combined different kind of reactors, photoreactors and catalytic reactors with a specific molecular mesh that enhance these day and night. So it tackles NOx as same as carbon dioxide. We haven't tested for oxygen sulfate, methane, but in the near future, it's like once we get in economic solvency enough, to spend the
on
research and
R&D.
development on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
RNA, like we are going to perform different tests, as I mentioned before. So, yes, I'm the first one that would like to know to which extent we can use carbon CO2 pure
Mm.
and to which kind of scenarios, because eventually there are one, it's the most important that it tackles now is carbon dioxide, but also the methane market or the methane problem also we need to foresee what is the extent of the product that we can use it in, or binary solutions is like they have issues inside that when they break one of the sacks of methane within a cave, it's like it might have an explosion. And that if we can prevent by having this, so people will be safer working in mines, in mineries, But
Well,
all these
look,
kind of things, like they need to be fit.
what you said before, it is true, and I wanted to add also something. What you said is true. It is that CO2 pure, it is not alone going to solve the climate change problem. There is a something that right now it is very important, and it is to be able to tell people data, numbers, quantifiable and measurable data. You know what OBI does. We're specialized in life cycle assessment, and what we see, it is every single study that we do, there is a surprise into it. In a stage of a product that we're studying, there is a surprise. We were expecting maybe that part would have been the biggest contributor, but every single project has a surprise into it. And if we see surprises on projects and carbon footprinting or any other environmental impact that we study on products and supply chains, uh, how can people that are not doing this every single day know what is their impacts on the environment? So there is a job of data quantification that needs to be done. That it is very, how can you calculate the benefit of what you're doing if you don't know where you were before, right? And unfortunately, and this is my personal and private rant at the moment. Unfortunately, what I'm seeing right now, but it is changing. What I'm seeing right now, it is the focus on the company quantification of the emissions, which is right. It's still very important to do. But if you are producing something, what it is that goes in front of the customers is your product. What goes on shelves, it is your product. What goes into car shops, it is your product. If you don't know the carbon footprint of that, how can you reduce your impacts through that? Yes, employees' transportation, very important. Lighting in the building, very important. But at the end of the day, there are products that goes in front of consumers. Those are the products that can be the vehicle to reduce or increase CO2 emissions. So this is very, very important, because otherwise all this job that you guys are doing, you are inventing and then putting in long hours to be able to develop something that works and goes onto the market.
Yeah.
But then if you're not able
Yeah.
to measure the effectiveness and the benefits of that by having a strong baseline, okay, how? And it drives me insane. It really drives me insane, unfortunately. I know it's my personal private rant, but data quality, it is extremely important. Extremely important. There was one more thing that I wanted to ask you. And by browsing on the PrimLab website, article. Tell me about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just one point that I want to remark on the previous comment is like, yes, final products goes to final customers, and those customers, they need to foresee that having the capability of eliminating carbon dioxide, the benefit that it will bring to them, it will be from one side, it's that they will help reducing carbon dioxide, because we will prove, or we have proven already, was the efficiencies of elimination of those products based. Secondly, is like we have made assays in order to demonstrate that our product is antibacterial, antiviral. So that means that they will be more protected or spreading different kind of pathogens, or taking those pathogens within them. And basically, it's if we are able to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide surrounding the product that is being based, it is being proven that there is a direct correlation between air pollution and respiratory diseases. The more pollution it is, the more chances that you can get to respiratory diseases, asthma,
Yeah.
allergies, and all this kind of thing. And eventually, it's like if we reduce this load, eventually what we are offering is a nice, clean environment for them to live in.
Yeah.
So they have so many benefits that they can claim from CO2 applied to different products.
Yeah.
So in regard to the other product that you mentioned, article, okay, so I'm, as a biologist, know that plants do have chemical weapons in order to counteract the effect of different kind of illnesses or diseases that a plant, a tree might have, and they use a chemical compound called polyphenol. There are many types of polyphenols. Okay, and researchers around the globe have been using different kind of polyphenols to find out if they are doing any good to many kind of chronic diseases like Alzheimer's, cancers, coronary diseases, cardiovascular, atherosclerosis, whatever. And they shown that different kind of polyphenols do good to those diseases. So now it's like we were thinking, okay, so what makes the Mediterranean decides to make a longevity in life? So the olive oil that we always have in our meals contains lots of those polyphenols. Okay, so we cannot use olive oil because olive oil is already available everywhere.
Yeah.
More expensive, less expensive, but it is available. We cannot patent it. So what could we do? It's we can take those polyphenols, make a concentration of those polyphenols, apply it to a specific formulation in order to be suspended and so on, and to be able to get a concentration of those polyphenols that they can be introduced into the food chain. So what if by eating your normal bread, your normal meat, your normal bakery, your normal whatever pre-cooked food, it's like you're eating the recommended dose of polyphenols by the European Food and Drug Administration, the
Mm.
EFSA. Uh, um, so people will have the chances to live longer, to have a better health. So what happened is like we have assessed the viability of proteins, vitamins, and all those stuff from pre-cooked food. So we know that pre-cooked food is ready food that you make into your microwave, ready to eat. But this pre-cooked food can bring many advanced glycation end products. So those are sugars melt into um, amino acids, proteins, and they make what is the dark baked thing that you see on breads, on meat, and stuff.
That is the
So those
acrylamide.
glycation, acrylamide is one of them. Yes,
Okay.
acrylamide is one of the glycation end products.
Okay.
So we have seen that that the vast majority of products cooked at 220, 208, 180 to 120 degrees, the composition degrades because of the heat. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's like we eating less valuable resources for our bodies to take profit of it. So what we have seen is we have demonstrated that applying our products, in this case was in bread, after cooking, we preserve a 68% of the biological activity of the compound, of those polyphenols. They were not burned. So therefore, it's like you eating a 68% of the product that can help you with the atherosclerosis, cholesterols, you name it, many kind of diseases that they can that those glycation end products are the precursors of the formation of different kind of diseases. So
Wow.
if we can prevent the formation of those advanced glycation end products within your body accumulation, so therefore it's like you can have a much nicer health coming from you. So there is also this potential that we know that perishable food it lasts a week, lasts two
Yeah.
weeks at the most.
Yeah.
In
That's
some cases,
oxidation.
unlucky.
Yeah. That's
So
all oxidation.
yes, oxidation, infection, bacteria, spores, and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So what if we could prevent these oxidation processes to perish as quick as normal? So what we are ensuring is that the companies could have perishable food for a longer period of time, and therefore, it's like they can transport it further away, or they can sell it for more time. So
Wow. Yeah. You can
making
extend the
space
shelf
for this
life.
product. Yeah, exactly. Extending the shelf life. Yes. So
That
all
is
these things is
amazing. That
like
would be
we
fantastic, Jose. That would be fantastic
yeah.
because
So we have to,
moving stuff on BSE or tire, it is a much lower impact than air freight. Sorry. And not
yeah.
to mention the end part of the cycle of the food supply chain, which is the wastage part that it is. If not properly handled, it is again another source of methane when they end up in landfills. So that's very
Yes.
interesting. And you run tests on this too?
Yes, it's like we have done the test for the validity of the efficiency prevalence of the product after cooking
Mm.
with a 68%. We have made an in-house test for burgers to see if the burger, fresh meat, could last for longer,
Yeah.
and it did. But then, we need to do it in a third party outside PrimLab,
Yeah.
to have the
Yeah.
validation proven, because it's not that what we say, it's what it goes.
What
So
was the
then
result
later
on the
on is like,
burger? What was the result on the burger?
well, the
Because
result,
mincemeat, it is it is the
yeah,
one with the highest bacteriological count and the one with the
yes.
highest risk of infections and blah blah blah. How was the result?
We have done in-house tests for acrylamide formation. We have done tests for longevity in burgers, and basically in burgers, is like we could see that it was more than a week, extending the lifespan of the
Wow.
meat. In acrylamide formation, we could see that it reduced the acrylamide formation on chips, conventional chips that we
Mm-hmm.
eat them everywhere, and therefore it's like, many in many countries is like they keeping an eye on the acrylamide formation, because some researchers linked acrylamide formation to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that remains debate on how much, and it is true, not true, and the pros and cons. But nonetheless, like, there are people already tackling the acrylamide formation because of this concern. And eventually, it's like, if we have a product that can reduce the acrylamide formation naturally, no chemicals, no different kind of compounds could have a different effect on humans, but we're using only pure natural compounds for the article product.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's a very interesting product that we are in a stage in which we have found the right formulation for mass production. So, we need to perform a few more tests, to convince and validate the product within the food industry,
Yeah, and
and
different applications
for
too.
them
Yeah.
to be able to apply it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to be able to apply it. So, it would increase what, 1 cent, 2 cents from our side, of the application process. But now it depends again if the companies, they want to apply it as a premium product, or they want to apply it as a product
Normal. Yeah.
for every product they have.
Yeah.
So this is a big concern in which most of the industries right now, they are looking to the penny rather to the health and the climate change problem we have. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, it's like, that's what I said, that we need to change mentalities, because we all live in one planet, and we need to do something in order to counteract the effect. And
Yeah.
eventually, it's like, commercialization is good, because you can have different products anywhere in the world at any time, as you want it. But also, we need to take care of who buys it, and the effects it can do it to them.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. Thank you, Jose. That was very, very interesting. And both CO2 Pure and article, one by absorbing and the other one by avoiding potential CO2 emissions are phenomenal, really are phenomenal. And I really hope that
Well,
PrimLab will be everywhere. PrimLab products will be everywhere, because they're going to be a big help for sure. For sure.
yes, it's like, our mind is set up in order to do some good. Like, we have another project that we would like to develop for reduction of heavy metals into the crops, basically. And we
This is a
know
third
that,
product. This is another product that you're
yes,
working on. Okay.
I can give you some hints about this product. We
Okay.
call it
Good.
cropland. Crop Cropland
Cropland.
is a product that we want to use. Yes, it's a product that we want to use to minimize the amount of heavy metals transferred to the food, to the basically vegetables and fruits. So, we know that heavy metals accumulation within the organisms
Mm-hmm.
ends up into developing developing certain kind of diseases. So what if we can reduce this heavy metals concentration in your body by
Yeah.
reducing it from the plant in essence? So you will eat healthier products, you know, and therefore it's like your health will be much better, and you can last for longer time
So
without
this
having issues.
it is something that you apply on soil directly, on agricultural
Yeah.
soil. Is that right? That does it work? Okay, they're tips, I know, but I gotta ask. Does it work? Are you familiar with the phyto remediation plants? Those kind of plants that mining companies usually use once they close down a mine or landfill, actually, decommission landfills. Those plants are able to clean up heavy metals from the soil. Is that something? Does it ring a bell? Is something similar?
Yes. So basically, those plants like lettuce, broccoli, different kind of conventional vegetables that we use nowadays, it's like they have the capabilities of absorbing heavy metals, but
Mm,
therefore it's like they absorb the heavy metals, and the heavy metals remains into
in
the
the
plant
body.
in the plant.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, in the plant.
What we
Yes.
want is the contrary. What we want is the contrary. Rather than being absorbed, to be expelled from taking it from the roots. So
Okay.
therefore, it's like you can eat them, and therefore, it's like you don't have those heavy metals in your organism.
Wow.
So one thing is to remove heavy metals from contaminated lands. Yes, by planting all these type of plants, they can reduce. Therefore, then you take them, burn, or use them for another thing, reconvert them. And the other thing is to remove those heavy metals from taking from the plant, taking it into the leaves or the fruit. So we are setting up a certain kind of collaboration with universities in
Okay.
order to perform different kind of tests and assays. And eventually, it's like there are certain issues on how we could apply it, how we could make it for the agriculture to be able to easily implement this technology into their crops and so on. But we are there, and sooner or later we will come up with something.
Nice, nice. Well, that's number three, and that's another very interesting R&D right there.
Oh yes,
Very
I
nice.
could be talking to you like for a very long time because
Yes, same.
we have many other type of research and developments that we could trigger, and that could be a game changer for instance, antibiotic resistance. You know,
Okay.
we know that it's been by 2050 that more than 50 million people will die from bacterial infections because we will not have enough antibiotics in order to counteract the effect of bacteria. So, what could we use? It's like there are certain things in which I did my hesitation in London
Mm,
about this part. So I know how, but it needs to be implemented and it needs to be done so many things.
yeah, it does. But you're on your way. Yeah, it is very nice to hear what you and your guys at PrimLab are doing. Thank you for sharing this. I think we can wrap up this episode. Thank you for participating. It was great. Love it. And hope to see you soon.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and I will follow you.
Well done. Hey, that's the minimum. Come on. Okay.
So, what will the first episode. So we will be taking you as a follower. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jose. You take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye
Ciao.
again. Bye. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Raw Green, brought to you by Obi, a sustainability consultancy firm specialized in life cycle assessment and decarbonization strategies. If you're looking to make an impact, a tangible and measurable one, reach out to us on our website at oneobi.com or visit our social media. Links below in the description. See you at the next episode. Ciao.